Ladies, let's talk. Not about fairy tales, but about the real stories. The ones that don't get wrapped up with a bow. The ones that leave us picking up the pieces, wondering how we ended up here again. If you've ever found yourself loving someone who left you more broken than whole, you're not alone. And no, it's not because you weren't enough. It's because sometimes we give the softest parts of ourselves to men who were never ready to hold them. Let's dive into the 6 types of men who will shatter your heart, so you can recognize the red flags before they leave scars. This man is the one who makes your heart race the moment you meet him. He's the kind of person who sweeps you off your feet with just a glance, a smile, a compliment that feels like it's meant just for you. He can talk for hours, make you laugh until your cheeks hurt, and create moments that feel electric and full of promise. When he looks at you for a brief second, you're convinced that maybe, just maybe, you've found something special. But here's where things get tricky. As quickly as he swept you off your feet, he will pull away just as fast. There are no heart-to-hearts, no deep conversations that make you feel understood. You will be left waiting, not because he's busy or because life is getting in the way, but because he's emotionally unavailable, and he always has been. You'll see signs at first, subtle ones. Maybe he'll brush off anything that gets too serious, redirecting conversations to lighter topics when things get personal. Maybe he's great at showing affection in small doses, sending you sweet texts, keeping you close physically, but when it comes time for a deeper connection, his walls are up, and you're left wondering why he can't just open up, why he won't let you in. There's always a reason with this type of man. The reason could be his fear of intimacy, his unwillingness to face his own emotional baggage, or his past wounds that he hasn't healed. But you won't know for sure because he won't communicate it. He's not one to talk about feelings. Those things are just too risky, too vulnerable, too real. And here's the thing, he'll make you question yourself. He'll convince you that maybe it's you, that you're too much or too intense or too needy, because he knows how to make you feel like you're the problem. He's charming enough to pull you in, but distant enough to make you doubt your own worth. And this is where the danger lies. His charm doesn't cover the fact that he's emotionally unavailable, not just for you, but for anyone. He can't give you the connection you're looking for because he's incapable of giving it to anyone. What makes this situation even harder is that the emotionally unavailable charmer often gives just enough to keep you hooked. He'll text when he feels like it. He'll show up when he's bored or in need of validation. He'll pull you in close when he senses you drifting away, making you believe that this time it's different, that maybe this time he's ready. But he never is. He might think he wants a relationship, but the truth is he's far more comfortable in the fantasy of a relationship than in the work of a real one. This is the kind of man who leaves you feeling conflicted, unsure whether he's the one you've been waiting for or just another illusion you've fallen for. He knows what you need. He knows how to fulfill those needs temporarily, but he never stays long enough to make it real. And you're left trying to piece together the person he could have been, not the one he actually is. You might start making excuses for his behavior. Maybe he's just busy. He's been hurt before. It'll get better. I just have to give him time. But time won't fix this. Time won't heal the space he's leaving inside of you. And in the end, you'll come to realize that waiting around for someone to meet you emotionally is like waiting for rain in the desert. It might happen, but it's so rare you shouldn't count on it. You deserve more than the promises of someday and the empty assurance that he'll come around. The emotional unavailability of this type of man isn't just a phase. It's who he is. And no matter how charming he is, no matter how great the chemistry feels, no matter how badly you want to believe that he'll eventually let you in, you need to be honest with yourself. The emotionally unavailable charmer doesn't make you feel safe or seen. He makes you feel like an option, not a priority. He doesn't love you for who you are. He loves the idea of you, the version of you that he gets to keep at arm's length. Never fully committed, never fully real. And in that, you'll find yourself losing parts of yourself, wondering when you stopped being enough, wondering if you'll ever find someone who can meet you where you are, not where they wish they could be. But here's the hardest truth. No amount of love, care, or patience can unlock the heart of someone who isn't ready to open it. It's a truth that hurts, but it's also liberating. Recognizing that you deserve someone who is all in, not someone who shows up only when it's convenient for them, is the first step toward healing. And once you see it, you'll know exactly what to look for next time. Because love isn't about chasing or convincing, it's about connection, vulnerability, and real mutual effort. This type of man doesn't just enter your life, he barges in, often with the kind of intensity that leaves you breathless. At first, he seems like your knight in shining armor, your protector, your answer to all the things you've struggled with. He notices your cracks before you do, and he's quick to tell you that he can fix them, that you don't have to fight your battles alone anymore. He listens to your pain, your fears, your past mistakes, and he's there to help you heal. Sounds perfect, right? Who wouldn't want someone who's so in tune with your struggles, someone who genuinely wants to help you rise above them? But here's the catch. When a man operates from a savior complex, his desire to help you isn't about truly helping you. It's about feeling needed. It's about validating his worth through your pain. It's about saving you so he can feel powerful, significant, and in control of the situation. His intention may not always be malicious, but the dynamic is ultimately unhealthy. At first you might not see it. After all, he's so attentive, so caring, and so generous with his time and energy. He wants to fix the things that have been holding you back. And you might think, how could I ever have a problem with this? But eventually it becomes clear. His help is conditional. He's not interested in a balanced relationship where both of you contribute equally. Instead, he makes you dependent on him. You begin to feel like you're failing him if you don't accept his solutions, or if you don't constantly rely on him for guidance and support. What starts out as an offering of help subtly shifts into a demand for validation. This kind of man often wants to be your rescuer because it feeds his ego. He enjoys the power dynamic of being the one who is always fixing things. And over time, it starts to feel less like love and more like a transaction. The more you struggle or need his help, the more he feels like he has a purpose. And the more you rely on him, the more he holds the power. He doesn't allow you the space to heal on your own or to grow through your challenges. Instead, he swoops in, takes the reins, and makes the solution about him. You start to lose your sense of self in the process. What's dangerous about the savior complex guy is that he makes you believe you are weak or incomplete without him. He convinces you that you need him to heal, that you are incapable of standing on your own, and in the process you might begin to question your own abilities, your own strength, and your independence. Your growth becomes about him, his advice, his support, his solutions, rather than about your own self-discovery and empowerment. But the truth is, healing doesn't work like that. True healing comes from within. But it comes when you have the strength to confront your own pain, learn from it, and rise above it on your own terms. You don't need someone to save you. You need someone who will walk with you, not drag you along. The savior complex guy doesn't understand this. His need to save you isn't rooted in love, but in a deep insecurity of his own. He doesn't want to let you struggle because he fears that if you do, you'll discover that you don't need him. You'll discover that you're strong enough to handle your own life, that you can heal and grow without relying on someone else to carry you, and that is his greatest fear. If you're strong, he doesn't feel powerful. If you're independent, he doesn't feel needed. You may find yourself caught in a cycle with this type of man. You'll feel guilty for not needing him enough, for not being grateful enough for all the ways he's helped you. And eventually this dynamic leaves you feeling smaller and smaller. You start to question your own choices, your own ability to navigate the world, because he's positioned himself as the expert. But in reality, his help is robbing you of your power. The sad truth is that a savior complex guy will never really see you. He'll only see a project. He'll only see someone who needs fixing, and while he may think he's doing you a favor, what he's actually doing is diminishing your value, turning your challenges into something he can control and solve instead of letting you be the expert of your own life. And what happens when you no longer need saving? What happens when you stand on your own 2 feet and realize you don't need his approval, his solutions, or his help to be whole? That's when things start to unravel. He will no longer be your hero, he'll be a stranger. You'll see that you didn't need him to fix you. In fact, he might have been the one holding you back all along. The relationships built on the need to be saved are never equal. They're always one-sided, always defined by dependency, and always doomed to fail. The true test of a healthy relationship isn't whether one person is a savior and the other is saved. It's whether both people are free to be themselves, flaws, strengths, insecurities, and all, and can grow together without the weight of control or the pressure of saving it. You settle for less. This man is a master at crafting fantasies. He's the kind of person who will show up in your life with grand promises, big ideas, and a vision for the future so bright that it's hard not to get swept up in it. From the moment he enters your world, he'll paint you a picture of everything that could be. Long walks on the beach, spontaneous adventures, a future full of love and laughter, a life built around each other's dreams. He makes you believe that you're destined to live the perfect life together. The passion he ignites within you is intoxicating, and his words feel like a warm embrace, wrapping you in a cocoon of hope. But here's where the story takes a turn. The dream seller doesn't live in the present. His promises are a mirage, a beautifully constructed illusion, but an illusion nonetheless. While you're imagining your life together in a world where everything flows effortlessly, he's still stuck in the someday mentality, the maybe and one day that never quite come to fruition. His plans sound perfect on paper, but there's always something that stands in the way, always an excuse, always a delay, always another next time. The dream seller will get you excited about what could be, but he won't take the necessary steps to make it a reality. He'll keep you on the edge, living in a perpetual state of waiting for the future. His words are sweet and they promise fulfillment, but they never materialize into action. The more you wait for him to follow through, the more you start to wonder if he truly means it or if he's just telling you what you want to hear. And that's the danger. He doesn't lie outright. Instead, he lets you believe in something that will never be. As the days pass, you'll notice that his plans remain abstract. He's a man of words, but those words rarely turn into tangible actions. His promises feel hollow because they're constantly postponed, always pushed aside for one reason or another. You begin to question yourself, was I too eager? Did I misread his intentions? Did I misunderstand his commitment to us? What you're not seeing is that the dream seller is not a man of action. He's a man of fantasy. His gift isn't in creating something real. It's in creating the illusion of something real. He knows how to make you feel like you're the one holding back the beautiful life he's promised, when in fact it's him who hasn't made a single move toward fulfilling those promises. He's built this imaginary world that you both could have, but he's never actually done the work to bring it into being. Over time, the excitement of the dream begins to feel more like a weight. You start living in the limbo of what could be instead of what is. You might look around and see everyone else building their lives, while you're still stuck, still waiting, still hoping for that one day that never seems to come. It's exhausting to keep chasing something that's never within your grasp, and worse yet, it begins to erode your sense of self-worth. Because as much as you believe in the dream, you can't shake the feeling that you're being strung along, like an endless game of maybe. The problem with the dream seller is that he's a salesman of potential, not reality. He'll keep selling you hope, but without the substance to back it up. And at some point, the dream will no longer seem like something to look forward to. It will start to feel like a burden, something you're carrying alone while he continues to talk about all the things you could have, should have, would have. You start to feel as though you've been living in a story that isn't yours to tell. And it's not because you've lost the ability to dream, but because the person you trusted to build that dream with you never really intended to build anything at all. He's not malicious, at least not intentionally, but he's someone who needs the illusion more than the reality. The dream seller can't live in the here and now because the future is where he feels most alive, where everything is full of promise and possibility. But when you need the stability of the present, when you need someone who will show up and help make those dreams a reality, you'll find that the dream seller is nowhere to be found. He'll remind you constantly of what could be. He'll fill your head with visions of a perfect life, but never offer you the hands to help build it. And as much as you want to believe in the story, you'll eventually realize that it's not about what could be, but what is. And the sad truth is that the dream seller isn't interested in turning those dreams into reality. He's interested in keeping you just far enough into the fantasy that you never realize the truth, that he's never planning to follow through. The hardest part of loving a dream seller is that you are left clinging to hope, holding on to a version of him that only exists in your mind, a version of a future that has yet to be created. You stay, waiting for him to prove it, to make the dream real, to make it come alive. But time passes, and the dream remains just that, a dream, floating on the horizon, just out of reach. And in the end, you realize that no amount of hoping or waiting will ever bring that dream into existence. Because while you were dreaming, he was content living in the fantasy. And that's the moment the dream is shattered, not by anything you did wrong, but by the realization that he never really intended to match. The wounded poet is a man who wears his scars like a badge of honor, and in some ways, it makes him seem mysterious, captivating, and deeply human. He's the kind of man who is always talking about the pain he's been through, the heartaches he's endured, and the ways in which life has broken him. His vulnerability is almost seductive. You see the hurt in his eyes and you want to be the one who heals him. You believe that if you love him enough, care for him enough, you can help him overcome the darkness he's still carrying. At first, it feels like an intimate connection. You bond over his stories, his poems, his art, whatever medium he uses to express his emotions. You feel special because he chooses you to share his raw, unfiltered self. You're there for him in ways that no one else has been. You're his anchor in the storm, and for a moment, you start to believe that this bond between you is something real, something solid. He opens up about his past, about how he's been hurt, how love has failed him before, how life has broken his spirit, and you want to believe that you can be the one to put him back together. But here's the twist. The wounded poet isn't looking for healing. He's not seeking a partner who can stand beside him, lifting him up. What he's looking for is someone who will validate his pain, someone who will give him a reason to stay in the darkness, someone who will reassure him that his hurt defines him. His wounds are not a past story. They are his identity. And in some ways, they are his shield, his excuse for not moving forward, for not taking responsibility for his life, for remaining in a state of perpetual suffering. The wounded poet thrives on his sadness. It fuels his creativity, his charm, his allure. He talks about healing, about change, about hope, but only in theory. He never actually takes steps to fix what's broken inside him. Instead, he uses you as his emotional outlet, his therapist, his emotional crutch. Every time you try to pull him out of his sadness, every time you offer him a hand to help him move forward, he pulls away, telling you that he's not ready, that he can't be fixed, that he's damaged beyond repair. And you start believing it. You start thinking that maybe the problem isn't him, it's the world, it's the people who've wronged him, it's life itself. But the truth is, the wounded poet doesn't want to be fixed. Someone who wants to move on from his past because, for him, his pain is his power. It's the thing that makes him interesting, the thing that makes him deep, the thing that makes him special. And the more you try to help him, the more he pulls away because, deep down, he doesn't want a partner who will support his healing process. He wants someone to listen to his pain without judgment, without asking him to change. Someone who will reaffirm that his brokenness is a permanent part of who he is. You might find yourself stuck in this cycle. You give, you love, you care. You try everything you can to heal him, to show him that he's worthy of a future, that he's worthy of love. But the more you give, the more he takes, and the less you receive in return. His heart remains closed off, wrapped up in layers of emotional armor that you can never penetrate. And just when you think you've finally gotten through to him, just when you believe he's ready to move forward, he retreats once again into his familiar space of pain. The worst part is that you start to doubt your own worth. You begin to wonder if maybe he's right. Maybe you're not enough to heal him, to fix him, to make him see that he's worth more than his past. And this doubt, this constant questioning of yourself becomes exhausting. You give everything to him, but he keeps taking it without ever offering you the same in return. Your emotional well-being starts to deteriorate, and you're left feeling drained, depleted, and wondering how you ended up here in the first place. What makes the wounded poet even more dangerous is that he doesn't ask for help directly. He doesn't say, "I need you to fix me." Instead, he creates this illusion that he's a tragic figure, a misunderstood soul who is just waiting for someone to save him from his pain. But in reality, his pain is what defines him. It's what makes him feel important, what gives him meaning. He's so entwined with his suffering that he can't see the beauty of the life that could exist outside of it. And when you offer that life to him, he refuses it, not because he doesn't want it, but because he doesn't know who he is without his pain. This type of man isn't looking for someone to love him in the way you might think. He's looking for someone who will validate his brokenness, someone who will keep him in a cycle of perpetual sadness and longing. And no matter how much love you give, no matter how many times you try to help him see that he's worthy of a future beyond his pain, you'll eventually realize that the wounded poet is not a person you can heal. He's a person who needs to heal himself, if he's ever ready to do so. So what do you do when you find yourself caught in the web of a wounded poet's allure? You have to let go. You have to accept that no amount of love or patience will make him ready to change. The healing process is his to own, not yours. And while you may always feel compassion for his struggles, you cannot sacrifice your own emotional well-being in the process. Healing is a journey he must take alone. It's painful, but the truth is, no one can save him, not even you. Can it come true? This man is the one who promises you the world, but is terrified of giving you all of it. He's charismatic, charming, and everything you want in a partner, except for the one thing that truly matters: commitment. He's the kind of man who tells you all the right things, makes you feel seen and special, and then hits you with the inevitable cold feet when things start to get real. His feelings seem deep, his interest intense, but when it comes time to solidify the relationship, he pulls away. He might say he's not ready, that he needs time, or that he doesn't want to rush things, and for a while you might believe it. After all, love takes time, right? But soon you start to see a pattern. A constant reluctance to take the next step, a refusal to fully invest in what you both have. The commitment phobic isn't emotionally unavailable, nor is he uninterested in you. He'll spend hours with you, show affection, make plans, and keep you close. In fact, he's incredibly engaging and present in every moment, making you believe that maybe, just maybe, he's starting to let his guard down. But as soon as things start to get serious, when you start talking about what the future looks like, when you start thinking about exclusivity, or when you start imagining a life together, he hits the brakes. Suddenly, he's not sure about the relationship anymore. Suddenly, there's doubt, uncertainty, and a desire to take things slow. At first, it's easy to dismiss it. You might think he's been hurt before, or he's just scared of commitment, and you convince yourself that with time, you'll be able to change his mind. But the longer you stay, the more you start to realize that his fear of commitment isn't just a temporary thing, it's a fundamental part of who he is. It's not that he doesn't care about you, it's that he's afraid of losing his freedom, his independence, or his sense of control. The idea of tying himself down to one person, of being accountable to someone else, terrifies him. He might not say it outright, but every time the conversation turns to commitment, he gets jittery, uncomfortable, and emotionally distant. You'll notice that the commitment phobic often has a long list of excuses, things that seem to make sense at first. I'm focused on my career right now, or I've been hurt in the past and need time to heal, or even I'm not sure if I'm ready to settle down. These are all real concerns, but the problem is that they become his go-to reasons for never fully committing. The longer you're with him, the more you start to feel like you're chasing something that may never happen. You'll find yourself doubting your own worth, wondering if maybe there's something wrong with you, or if you're just not enough to make him take the plunge. You'll start to question what he really feels for you, because every time you think things are moving forward, they slip backward again. The commitment phobic will keep you on the edge of uncertainty. He'll tell you that he's not ready for a relationship, or that he needs time to figure himself out. But the more time passes, the more you start to realize that he's never going to be ready. Not because of you, but because of his own deep-seated fear of what commitment means. To him, commitment is a loss of freedom, a loss of control, and a loss of the ability to make decisions based solely on his own desires. This man may even be in and out of your life, coming back when it's convenient for him and disappearing when things get serious. His hot and cold behavior will leave you feeling confused and unsettled, constantly questioning whether or not he truly wants to be with you, or if you're just an option in his life, something to fill the space when he's not occupied with other things. His fear of commitment manifests as indecisiveness, avoidance, and emotional withdrawal, and it can leave you wondering if you'll ever be enough for him to make a real commitment. One of the cruelest parts of loving a commitment phobic is the sense of limbo you're left in. You're never quite in, but you're never fully out either. You get just enough affection and validation to keep you hoping, keep you believing that maybe, just maybe, he'll change his mind. But as time passes, you'll realize that hoping for someone to change, their fundamental approach to love and commitment, is a dangerous game. You can't make someone ready for commitment, no matter how much you love them, no matter how much you care for them. The commitment phobic has to make that choice for himself, and until he does, you'll be stuck in a cycle of uncertainty and heartache. The worst part is that the commitment phobic often makes you feel like you are the problem. He'll point out how much he cares about you, how much he enjoys being with you, and how much he wants to spend time with you, but somehow, when it comes time to take the next step, the walls go up. You'll begin to question if it's something you're doing wrong, if you're not enough, if you're too eager, too intense. But the truth is, his reluctance to commit has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with his own inability to confront his fear of being vulnerable and tied down. What you need to realize is this: a commitment phobic doesn't change because you want him to. He doesn't change because you love him enough or give him enough space. The choice to commit is something he has to make on his own. And if he's not ready, nothing you do will make him change. And so, the most difficult decision you will face in loving a commitment phobic is whether to continue waiting for him to come around or whether to let go and move on with your life. Waiting in limbo isn't fair to you. You deserve someone who's ready to take that leap, to build a future with you, and to invest in a real committed relationship. Not someone who's too afraid to even acknowledge that he wants the same. The narcissist is the man who makes everything about him. He's charming, magnetic, and can make you feel like you're the most important person in the world, at least at first. His confidence can be intoxicating, and when he focuses all his attention on you, it feels like the universe is aligning. He'll make you believe that you're the one he's been waiting for, that you're the answer to all his prayers, and for a while, you might even believe it. He knows exactly how to say the right things, make the right gestures, and capture your attention in a way that no one else ever has. But here's the rub. Everything he does, every compliment, every grand gesture, every affectionate word is ultimately about him. The narcissist thrives on admiration, and he wants you to think of him as the center of your world. His actions aren't motivated by a genuine desire to build a partnership or a relationship. They're motivated by his insatiable need for validation. The love and attention he gives you are merely tools to keep you in his orbit, adoring him, praising him, feeding his ego. Over time, you begin to notice the subtle signs. It starts with small things: the way he dismisses your opinions, the way he redirects conversations back to himself, the way he turns your achievements into reflections of his greatness. The narcissist is never truly interested in you. He's interested in the way you make him feel, your feelings, your thoughts, your struggles. None of them matter as much as how he appears in your eyes and in the eyes of others. When you bring up your own needs or concerns, you're often met with dismissiveness or indifference. He'll tell you that your problems are trivial, that you're overreacting, or that you should be grateful for everything he does. His self-centered nature makes him incapable of truly empathizing with you. It's not that he doesn't care. He simply doesn't care enough to listen, to understand, or to make space for your feelings. He's too busy trying to maintain his carefully crafted image as the hero, the star, the one who deserves admiration. If you confront him about his behavior, if you try to explain how you feel, he will often turn the tables, making you feel guilty for pointing out his flaws. He will manipulate the situation, painting himself as the victim and you as the problem. He'll twist your words and make you doubt your perception of reality. This is what makes the narcissist so dangerous. He doesn't just ignore your needs, he actively works to make you question them. He'll gaslight you, making you feel like you're the crazy one, like your feelings are invalid, like you're the one at fault for his lack of attention or empathy. Eventually, you start to realize that your entire relationship has become about him, his needs, his desires, his successes. You're nothing more than a supporting character in his life, and the more you give, the more he takes. The narcissist will never be satisfied. He'll always need more praise, more adoration, more validation. And no matter how much you give, it will never be enough. He will continue to use you as a tool to feed his ego, draining you emotionally and mentally until you're left wondering who you are outside of his world. The narcissist also has a way of keeping you on a constant emotional roller coaster. He'll love bomb you, shower you with attention, make you feel special, only to pull away when you need him most. He'll make you chase after him, convincing you that his affection is a prize you have to earn. When you do get his attention, it's fleeting and often conditional. You may find yourself constantly trying to prove your worth to him, trying to earn his love and affection. The highs are intoxicating, but the lows are soul-crushing. And just when you think you've had enough, he'll reel you back in with just enough attention to keep you hooked. What makes the narcissist so dangerous is that he can make you feel like you are the problem. His charm and manipulation skills are so finely honed that you start to believe that you're the one who's selfish, the one who's too demanding, the one who's not appreciating him enough. But the truth is, you're not the problem. He is. He's incapable of seeing beyond his own reflection, incapable of considering anyone else's needs but his own. He can't love you the way you deserve to be loved because he can't even love himself in a healthy way. The hardest part of loving a narcissist is that you'll never truly be seen. He will never see you for who you are. He'll only see what you can give him, your attention, your admiration, your emotional energy. And once that runs dry, he'll move on to the next source of validation. Your self-worth will become so tied up in his approval that you lose sight of who you are and who you were before he came into your life. The real tragedy is that the narcissist is incapable of experiencing the deep mutual connection that makes love beautiful. He will always be one step removed, always chasing the next high, always needing more. His love is conditional, and it's always about what he can get, not what he can give. The narcissist may never change because he doesn't want to change. He sees no reason to. He is the center of his own universe, and you are just another person orbiting around him, trying to keep him happy, trying to make him love you back in a way that he's simply in love. We often fall for individuals who present themselves as perfect matches, only to later realize that the relationship is built on fragile foundations. The 6 types of men we've discussed today, the dream seller, the wounded poet, the commitment phobic, the narcissist, and the others, are all in their own way skilled at drawing us in with promises, charm, or vulnerability. But beneath the surface, they all share a common thread. They are incapable of truly meeting us where we need them to be. They leave us emotionally exhausted, questioning ourselves, and ultimately heartbroken. It's crucial to remember that while we might be drawn to these men for various reasons, whether it's their promise of a better future, their wounded hearts that beg for healing, or their magnetic charisma, they are not the partners who will give us the love, care, and stability we deserve. In fact, staying with them is like trying to fill a cup that has no bottom. No matter how much we pour into it, it will never be enough. But here's the important truth. Recognizing these patterns and understanding these types is not just about warning us against falling into toxic relationships. It's also about reclaiming our own power. Knowing what we need and what we deserve, respect, reciprocity, emotional growth, and stability, empowers us to stop chasing after the wrong person and start focusing on becoming the best versions of ourselves. It is about valuing ourselves enough to let go of relationships that drain us and to embrace the ones that help us grow, heal, and become whole. So as we navigate the complexities of love and relationships, let us keep our eyes open, our hearts aware, and our standards high. The right person will come, not as an illusion, not as a dream, but as someone who meets us in the present, offers us partnership, and stands with us in a future built on mutual respect and love. It's time to stop accepting less than we deserve and start building relationships that reflect our worth. Let this be our reminder. Our hearts are precious, and they deserve to be shared with those who can truly value them, not shatter them.